As a matter of fact, this is not the first time such a case has taken place in Ghana's parliament. It happened in the third parliament, and that was when President Kofi became the president of this country. And that was in the case of the same Amenfi Central. That was Honorable Ibrahim Kofi Asante. I'm surprised that was Kofi Asante, but today is Kojo Asante. But clearly, if you look at the presidencies that happened and the rulings that have come and the ruling that the Speaker of Parliament has brought, the Speaker had no other option. In the case of Ibrahim Kofi Asante, the then MP for Asangagwa, when he crossed carpet, he left the NDC ticket based upon which he came to Parliament and joined the MPP on the floor of Parliament. The Honorable Speaker of Minority Leader at that time was Honorable Abambagwe. He also raised the attention of the then Speaker of Parliament that once Kofi Asante has left the NDC and has joined the MPP, he had no business being in the chamber. And therefore, based on that, Kofi Asante was sacked from Parliament and there was by-election in Amenfi Central. That was the first case. The second case that happened was in the case of Honorable Wayoseni, Professor Wayoseni, the then MP for Tamale Central. He came on the ticket of the NDC. On the floor of Parliament, he crossed carpet from the NDC and said he was no more going to be a member of the NDC. And therefore, he had seen the light. And therefore, he was coming to become a member of the MPP. Therefore, he crossed from the NDC side and joined the MPP side. The then minority leader was Honorable Abambagwe. He also raised attention of the chair that based on Article 97, 1G, 1H, Wayoseni did not qualify to be in the chamber, and therefore they walked him out and went for a by-election in Tamale Central. And that's how Honorable Inusa Fuseni became an MP. The third one that was going to take place was the case of Honorable Joseph Osewusu. He came to Parliament in 2008 as independent member for Bekwai. And therefore, when he wanted to cross from MP independent to join the MPP then came to their senses. And therefore, when they went for primaries, 2 years to elections, they deferred the primaries for Bekwai. They knew that 6 months to election, there can be no by-election. And therefore, they deferred the primaries for Bekwai so that there will be delayed primaries in Bekwai. So that any time Joe Osewusu defected from independence to MPP, there could be no by-election in Bekwai. And therefore, if you check, Bekwai people didn't do primaries when MPP did their primaries 2 years to the general elections in 2012. And that's how Joseph Osewusu metamorphosed from independent MP for Bekwai and became MPP MP for Bekwai. Then the third one that was supposed to happen was the independent member for Fomina. And that's where the law has caught them. In the case of Joseph Osewusu, the then speaker glossed over it and nobody raised it. Even though the MPP were playing with time, they marked time to make sure that always when the party is going for primaries, they don't open primaries, nomination for primaries, in constituencies occupied by independent members, waiting to join the political parties because they know the consequences of that action. In the case of Fomina, the MPP went for primaries in January, February 2024. But the primaries for Fomina, because they know the consequences that were going to befall the independent member for Fomina, and the parliament is a hung parliament, they deferred the primaries for Fomina. And the chairman, Untumi for Asante region, who was against the independent member for Fomina, was prevailed upon. They all prevailed upon. So that now we have 3 months to elections. And they know that 3 months to election, the constitution is against by-election. There can be no by-election in Fomina. And that's why they have opened the nominations. So clearly, both NDC and MPP are aware of the consequences of defecting or shifting your loyalty from the ticket which brought you to Parliament to another system. So we all know. And that is why any political party, whenever they want to organize primaries in such constituencies, they wait to be able to cure the constitutional mandate which by-election can take place. And if you listen to, I wouldn't want to quote this one, but I'm forced to quote it. if you listen to the Supreme Court ruling about the case of Afenyo, the ruling the Supreme Court gave, they didn't say future intent of Afenyo. As far back as November, 19th November, 2 clear weeks to the 2017 general elections, the member for Afenyo was not a Canadian citizen. He had received his certificate to renounce his citizenship. But the Supreme Court ruled that the commencement of the act was on the day of filing nominations at the Electoral Commission. Do you remember? And based upon that, after the time the Supreme Court, after the time J.T. Kwesi was filing his nomination at the Supreme Court, once he did not receive his Canadian citizenship, he was still a member of a citizen in Canada. That was the Supreme Court ruling. So when we are talking, the Supreme Court, even though J.T. Kwesi's action was, he became a member of parliament for Afenyo on December 7th, 2016. But as far back as October, he was still a Canadian citizenship because he did not receive that thing. So when they are tracing your activities, it's on the day you file with the Electoral Commission. That's what the Supreme Court says. So if you check what the Speaker said, he said the notice of pull by the Electoral Commission is out. And the pictures of those 4 MPs are there. They have changed their status. And based on that, there is automatic cessation. If you listen to the Constitution very well, it's a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat if he leaves the party based upon which he came to Parliament at the time of his election into that Parliament. So at the time of Kojo Asante's election to Parliament of Ghana, he was MPP member. And therefore, he must remain MPP member until 6 January 2025. At the time, Apia as Andy Asiama, MPP, an independent member for Fomina, was filing his nomination to come to Parliament in 2021. He came as an independent member for Fomina, and therefore, within the 4-year mandate, his status must not change. Have their status changed or not? It has changed. And the Speaker says that that article was put into the Constitution to be able to protect the loyalty of the members of Parliament to their constituent. So if you have come and you have changed your loyalty, should they still allow you to be there? So clearly, we don't need to belabor this. And I don't think even a professor, Professor Wayoseni, got it wrong. And you don't need a professor to tell you this. It's as clear as that. So I don't think the Speaker got it wrong. The political parties, if not politics that they are doing, are aware of the consequences. And that is why they always defer primaries in those constituencies that they are massaging. If not, why is it that in January they didn't open nominations in Fomina? Why is it that in 2012 MPP didn't open nomination in 2010 at Bekwai? They always wait to beat the constitutional 6-month constitutional period where there can be no by-election. Can you imagine if this had happened in January and we went for by-election in Fomina? Can you imagine what would happen? This is what they were dodging. Why were they dodging it? So we must not take it as if it is the Speaker who has given the ruling. Then they are saying, oh, there must be Supreme Court. Speaker is interpreting the Constitution. He must allow the Supreme Court to rule. My brother, was it the Supreme Court that ruled against Ibrahim Kofi Asante? Was it the Supreme Court that ruled upon Inu Safuseni? Was it the Supreme Court that ruled upon Andy Asiama? They say Andy Asiama, MP for Fomina. My brother, if it is not broken, don't fix it. You go to Supreme Court for interpretation. But as long as Parliament is concerned, the one who defend and interpret the rules of procedure, so long as Parliament is concerned, is the Speaker of Parliament. And therefore, we must not be shaking our responsibility. Even as minority leader then, the Speaker defended the Constitution. And it was upheld by the then venerable, distinguished Speaker Peter La Ajete. And therefore, I don't think that what the new minority are doing is in the right direction. They are wrong, and they must agree that they are wrong. And they should have foresaw this. They should have foresaw it. if they know Bekwai or in the edits in there, for MENA is their stronghold. They should have supported the member of parliament because looking at the sensitive nature of this current parliament. But then they said we're running after Apiakubi. They were running after Asiama. They were running after Cynthia Morrison. When you don't have the numbers, make sure you are able to work with everybody, whether you love them or you hate them. You ask for minority, you have gotten it. Go and practice it. And thank God, they are experts in it. Even today, they work out. As usual of a minority.